Belief perseverance. It's not confirmation bias. I'll go ahead and outline a short excerpt of why they're different. Belief perseverance, also known as conceptual conservatism, is maintaining a belief despite new information that firmly contradicts it. Confirmation bias is a tendency to search for, interpret, favor, and recall information in a way that confirms one's pre-existing beliefs or hypothesis. So they're different. One is the belief is maintained no matter what comes at it, and the other is the belief is maintained through a process of selecting information that already confirms what you already believe. So, in essence, belief perseverance is the wall of crap I've been dealing with when it comes to getting this idea out there, the idea that stars and planets are actually not mutually exclusive, they're the same thing. And I did a little nifty diagram here. I'll review it with you guys. On this diagram, I have Bible dogma, as in Genesis, God created the heavens, the planet, the earth, all the life on it. And then you have a wall, a belief perseverance wall. So you have a wall that prevents the dogmatic religious people from crossing over into mainstream science. And this is the belief perseverance wall. Doesn't matter how much evidence the scientific establishment shows as to how nature works, and doesn't matter how much stuff we learn about thermodynamics or chemistry, there are still always going to be people that believe God did all of it. He just created all of this. It's belief perseverance. On the same token, the university teaches dogma that stars and planets are mutually exclusive. So, of course, they're not going to go in reverse, because they also have a belief perseverance that science will be able to figure this stuff out. And to an extent, they're correct. But what's preventing them from going forward is just as intense when it comes to belief perseverance as it is to going backwards. So the likelihood of them going backwards into the belief that stars and planets were created by God is the same likelihood as them going forwards and realizing stars and planets are not mutually exclusive. They're the same thing. The star is a young hot planet. Stellar evolution is planet formation. We're standing on an ancient many billion-year-old star. And I wrote that wall down here too. They have a belief that stars and planets are mutually exclusive. There's no way that it could be the same thing. So their belief, they're stuck in the middle. They're stuck right in the middle. And to get through it, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to happen. Because when I was younger, when I was like 16, 17 years old, 18, and I went into the Marine Corps for the first time, that's when I really woke up and realized that, there is no God. There's no invisible man in outer space that created all this. And, there's no ultimate being that's watching us in outer space that cares about us. It's, I kind of had a waking up moment in boot camp. So the likelihood that I'm going back to the Bible stuff is incredibly slim. It's not going to happen. I mean, if there is a God, it's definitely something we don't understand. But the Bible God, no fucking way, man. So the likelihood of me going back, my belief in that, all that stuff is not as advanced as it could be, given the 21st century science has figured out a bunch of stuff, is slim. On the same token, though, the likelihood of university people who are taught and the ideas that are ingrained in their brains that stars and planets are mutually exclusive is just as powerful in preventing them from going forward and realizing that they're not mutually exclusive, that a star is a hot young exoplanet. But That's belief perseverance for you. It can both be beneficial and it can both get in the way of progress. It's it's something like like bumpers when you go bowling. You have two bumpers. You have one bumper on one side, one bumper on the other, and you throw your ball down to hit the pins. If you're not good at bowling or whatnot. I guess that's a poor example, but that's just an example. And just to realize that it's a mechanism to allow yourself to sort of get along inside of larger groups, and it helps with mental stability and keeping in line and doing things a step by step process, which is something that I've been struggling with, because if this idea is really true, then there's going to be a lot of chaos inside of people's minds. And I also read in this article here that Peter Maris suggests that the process of abandoning a conviction is similar to the working out of grief. And that's exactly what I've been experiencing over the 6 years plus, is my conviction that these scientists actually knew what they were doing has been completely shattered. And it has, it's on par with the working out of grief. I got really sad and angry and incredulous and critical and every negative emotion that I felt, and slowly realizing that these scientists were actually just, I don't want to say bullshitting people, but in essence, a lot of them weren't really thinking for themselves. They were just going along with the crowd. And the grief that I felt coming to terms with the realization that these scientists weren't being, dare I say, malicious. What they're really doing is just following the crowd and trying to preserve their beliefs. And for an idea like this to come along, what I've been working on, what Daniel Archer's been working on, Baz Taylor, Amrinder Singh, Michael Z, all you guys together, you got to realize that if this thing is going to come up and be developed even further, the academics and the people who should be able to help are going to have to go through a major grieving process. They're going to have to grieve the loss of their previous educations and their previous worldview, and everything about their entire world as they know it is going to have to be shattered in order for them to understand this theory. So it's definitely not something that's going to happen overnight. And the naivety that I felt thinking that just because I told an academic this understanding and they would instantly get it is slowly dissipating into nothingness. Basically, like in boot camp when I went into the Marines, they break you down first and then they build you back up. They emotionally break you down. They they get you really tired and miserable so they can get to that part of your brain that's really stressed the fuck out, and then they can start manipulating you and telling you what to believe and how to act. And then that's how they really get you to follow directions and learn the rules and the ways of, the Marines. But to teach an academic this theory, they're going to have to go through some type of mental boot camp as well, because everything that they've been told, in astronomy and astrophysics classes in graduate school, it's going to have to be broken down and shattered. And that's going to be a big grieving process. That wall of belief, the wall of belief is going to have to be shattered just as strongly as going in reverse and then believing that, God did it or whatever. But all right, I made this talk long enough. Hopefully people get it. Feel free to message me on the bottom. Later, y'all.